Welcome to Make It Monday. So this segment, we're going to start off just a little bit different than we normally do. We are going to go over a few different ideas together about how we can change this particular project and maybe think about our other projects a little bit differently and make it so that everybody can enjoy it and have a little more fun at it. Normally when I do an art project or a craft project, I'm sitting with you guys. We're around a table and we're doing things, or we're in our room and we're going back and forth about the project and we're having a conversation and we come up with those ideas together. So when I'm sitting in front of a camera by myself, I sometimes forget that step. What made me think about it is the other day I was sitting down to work on a project of my own personal, and I'm having a lot of problems with my hand, with my thumb and my finger, and it really hurts to hold a paintbrush or pick up something small, and I'm struggling with that. A lot of us have those problems on a daily basis, so I figured let's go over some ways that we can help each other. If you have some good ideas, put it in the comment section back on the Facebook page so that I can learn from it too. So for this project, I said gather up some lids and jar covers, that kind of thing, so that we can paint with them. So when I was starting to try and pick up some of these lids, I was having a difficult time. So something small like this is harder to pick up. So I'm thinking, how can I make that work a little bit better? So if I don't have to use my fingertips and I'm grasping, it makes it easier. So I'm just going to take a cork and hot glue that onto the end. And that is going to, I'm going to add another glue stick here, give me a larger surface area to hold. And I think it'll work a little bit better. So instead of having to pick like this, I can simply hold, and I can still use that surface to paint with. So that was one of my ideas. Another one is using something that we can easily slip our hand into so that we are using our painting surface, but yet something to hold it onto. And that can go onto the hand anyway. What you need to be aware of when you're doing something like this is that it's not tight or restrictive, that it goes on comfortably for the individual and it feels good and they want that on there, right? So to me, I'm trying, this feels too loose, there's too much extra fabric. This I like because I can use just a couple of my fingers, I can use my whole hand. This is comfortable for me. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that onto the lid like that and let that dry so that I can use that to hold things. This time I'm just going to put it into the center. Make sure when you're doing these projects that when you connect those pieces that you let that hot glue really dry well before you start to use it. The glue is hot glue for a reason and it burns, and we all know that. So put it on, set it aside, give it a chance to cool, set up. Once I put this one on there, I'm actually going to take and put a little bit extra glue on either side just to help secure that into place. This isn't meant to be temporary. Sorry, this isn't meant to be permanent. It's just temporary. Otherwise, I'd use something different than the hot glue, but for the project that we're doing, and for most of us, our projects are temporary. It'd be different if we were altering a paintbrush that we were going to use all the time. Today, we're just using lids to paint with. So there's a couple of different ways. Another different way that I was thinking, and I never mentioned this to you guys, but I took a pop bottle and cut the bottom off. On this, you got to make sure that that rim is not rough because we don't want to cut or scrape, that kind of thing. I took and evened mine out to make sure that it wasn't rough. The other thing you could take and do on this to make sure, if you're using it with somebody that maybe has really sensitive skin, that you take and go around the edge and apply a piece of painter's tape, or you could take and actually put a bead of hot glue and let that dry because that would become rounded on it. The other thing you can do, take a piece of sandpaper and just smooth that out. So something like this, we would be using this end on the bottom to paint with, and we can actually use it this way. So we would be dipping paint and putting it down. That's just another option. Something else, a little piece of cardboard or a big piece of cardboard, something thick or thin, depending on what is going to work for the person, right? So with this particular one, I'm thinking we'll be able to grasp and then use. So then again, I'm going to hot glue it down. To make that a little bit easier, I'm going to just cut a little slit in the center, wing that out either way. I'm going to use just a lid from a chip. Put a little bit of hot glue on either side and glue that down. Again, that's going to set, and that's just giving us a handle. The other thing that we can do is not always can we paint down. So remembering that we can actually raise our surfaces or hold the surface for somebody. So if somebody's holding that and the paint is on there, that it could be applied sideways or even holding up and applying up. So again, paying attention to who we're working with and how that project is going to be the most fun for them. Some of the best conversations take place over problem solving and figuring out how are we going to make this work for you and for me. Makes it a little more enjoyable. Again, just ways that'll make it a little bit easier and more of us can maybe join in on a project. So I'm going to stop this video now. I'm going to rearrange my work surface and we're going to come back and do some painting. See you in a minute. And we're back. We are going to create the project that we were talking about earlier and on Friday. So we had said we're going to use one color acrylic paint. I am going to use black. I'm going to put my paint in a lid. You can use a bowl, anything like that. Mix the paint up and apply it into the center. Be quite liberal with the amount of paint that you're using. So put a lot in there because this project takes a fair bit of paint. I'll just set that aside. Don't need to add any water to this unless you're using the small tube paints. Something like that, which has a little bit thicker consistency, and you might need to add a little bit of water to that project. I am going to start out by using a piece of pre-primed canvas, and I'm going to put that down. For this project, choose a couple of those lids or things that you collected. We're going to try and keep things really, really simple. So this was a lid that I had used, I had picked up. It actually has a little handle on it, which I really quite like. This was actually off, I believe, a Tylenol bottle. One of the arthritis ones. So those are something good to watch out for. I'm also going to use that one that I created with the handle on it. Maybe perhaps even that one. So let's start with 3 different ones. For this project, we're going to simply take that lid, put it into the paint. See, there's paint all the way around. Take that over to the canvas and we're going to print. You can put straight down or you can push slightly to create extra little curves and cues. We're going to keep a very simple circular pattern. We've got 2 there. And it's just a matter of printmaking. I'm going to take this particular one and add it off to the side. Oh. And it's just going to be an abstract exploration of contrast and color with a slight little bit of motion by just turning a bit. Yeah. Okay, so we've got 3. I'm going to take and try something a little bit more solid on that one. I'm going to use one of the corks and down, up, Beautiful, loving the looks of that. Okay, now let's take, I'm going to try a little bit larger circle over onto the side there, and I'm going to take and I'm going to use this larger lid. Now with that one, it's harder to get the paint on, so we're going to take and roll it through the paint so that it gets through all of the areas. Hard to see on that one, it's also black. And I'm going to put that down, turn and drag a bit. Oh, I love the look of that one. Okay. And that's what we have. I'm going to set that one aside to dry. Let's take our art journals. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to create one of those in a page here too. I really liked the look of this one, so I'm going to go back and use that one again. Okay, and I think there's enough paint on it that I'm just going to try. Gorgeous. When you pick it up, you see how it makes all the little drips. That adds a little bit extra and runs. Love that look. Okay, one more, and I'm going to drag it to create a swirl. This project is just about applying a simple pattern with one color and just seeing what kind of images that you can get with it. Beautiful. Something like this might be difficult to take and dip in there. So another way we can do it is take a little palette knife, paint, and just take and apply it around the edge. So you can either do that yourself, or you can have somebody help by doing that. That's always kind of nice. If something is really hard, but you want to do the project anyways, you just say, hey, get that paint on there for me. Okay, and again. Love. I'm going to do a slight overlap in there and see what happens. Again, some beautiful patterns. Here's another lid to be on the watch out for. It's also from a drink, but it has more of a handle on it, which is again easier to use. And I'm going to leave that like that. I want that dry. So again, remembering if it's too hard to go straight down on the table, raise your surface and go from the side. Have somebody hold it straight up for you. If you need to work from the top, you can have somebody hold it from the top down for you. There's also devices that you can get that do that for you, but sometimes it's just easier to have someone give you a hand. Most of the projects, the first time I do them, I'm sitting down and doing them with you. This project, a friend of mine I've seen do many, many times in many, many workshops, and it's beautiful and beautiful results. So I actually tried this on my own as well. And here's some of the, again, just one simple circle pattern with a matting. I've actually got a series of these that I'm going to be gifting to a friend of mine. And again, just by using the matting and moving it around, you get the placement that you like. The gift is actually going to be a set of 3 prints, which I think should be very, very ink prints. Have some fun, create some fabulous things. Maybe you might frame yours and give them for a gift. Or just give it a try and enjoy. I am going to take and experiment a little more with some of the things that we've created today. You have some fun and make your own wonderful projects. Again, if you happen to make this project and you think of it and take a picture, I would love if you went back to the Cosmopolitan Industries Facebook page and posted a picture of your work. I always love to see what everybody else is creating, and it would be nice for us to see what you're creating, and we can share those things. Cosmopolitan Industries Facebook page, and you just down in the bottom there, post in the comments section your picture. Have a great rest of your week. See you guys back here on Friday.